Good morning, hockey fans. This is Stephen Heisler with HeisHockey.com, the Victorious Hockey Company, with your junior hockey morning show. Forgot where I was at. Today is Tuesday, March 7th, 2023. Pretty good night last night. Sonia sang at another event. That's like 4 days in a row, 5 days in a row, Thursday, Friday, Saturdays. It's crazy. Our life is insane. Between hockey and music and cars and we're all over the place. Leafs are at Jersey tonight. Come on, boys. Today's topic, North American Hockey League East Division. We got something cooking for this morning. The beast that is the East is as ugly as ever. But that's exactly what one expects from the North American Hockey League's youngest and clearly the favorite child. Maryland's recent struggles continue to tease the Titans, who can't decide if they want to make a run at the division title or not. Meanwhile, Danbury, gotta love the Tricksters, they give up more goodies than a 50-year-old groupie at a Whitesnake concert. Seriously, are they ever going to win the game? There's hope for that next year. This year, not too sure. Good job on the coffee this morning, Tommy. Shake your head. Not going to say yes. Okay. All right. Top of the East is the Maryland Black Bears. 32-13, 4-0. Clint Mylock's Bears are in another late season habit of losing games to teams they have no business losing to. That was certainly the case this Saturday when they were shut out 3-0 in Boston by the Generals. This after smothering that same Northeast Generals team 5-1 on Friday. So what happened? Who knows? I do know this. Maryland better get it all together before visiting New Jersey this week. It's not going to be an easy series. Top two teams facing each other in the division. Jersey sitting back 7 points behind the Black Bears. Speaking of the Titans, 29-14, 1-2, 663 win percentage. Craig Dormer's Titans have the perfect opportunity to close the gap on Maryland this week in Middletown. The question is, do they really want it? And do they really have it in them? Back on February 24, 25, they shut out the Tomahawks in back-to-back games. And it looked like they were back. Maybe the boys read too much into that because they could not bend the twine in the next game against the Rebels. Fast forward through the off week, and just maybe we got ourselves a major showdown for this weekend. If Jersey sweeps Maryland at home, they'll pick up 4 points, close that gap to 3, then it's a horse race to the finish line. But the Titans have been messing up as well. They keep looking like they're going to come back and make a run, and then they sputter. Maryland is sputtering every other game. It's not been pretty. Not every other game, but, just when you think they're going to win out and be a monster towards the end, they sputter. Jersey, just when you think they're all in, everything's clicking, and then they sputter. Yeah, I get it. Hot goalies are hot goalies. Hard to get past those guys. We saw that this weekend with St. Cloud. But if you're going to make a run at the division title, Jersey, you better jump now. Number 3, Maine Nordiques, 27-17, 2-1, 606 win percentage. Pinch and the Nordiques look like they are getting too comfortable in the cozy confines of the Coliseum. The Nords did take 2 or 3 games over the Tomahawks at home this past weekend, giving Maine 4 points in the effort. The problem is that both Maine wins were in extra time, overtime, and a shootout. giving fifth place Johnstown the same 4 points. Play 3 games, accomplish nothing. Number 4, Northeast Generals, 25-18, 4-1, 573 win percentage. Brian Erickson's Generals did not look good while getting hammered by Maryland 5-1 on Friday. Cullen DeYoung, 2002, goalie from Canton, Michigan. He's 11-11-2 this year, 907 save percentage. Stopped all 37 shots he faced to give his team a 3-0 shutout over the division leaders on Saturday. Look for the Generals to extend that win streak to 4 games after this weekend's easy games against Danbury. They got 3 games against Danbury. That's 6 points. Rack them. Not much anybody can do about that. It's going to push the Generals up the standings, most likely. Number 5, Johnstown Tomahawks are chasing the Generals. 23-23-1, 532 win percentage. Latiza and the Tomahawks did not do themselves any favors while picking up 4 points in the 3-game series at Maine. Sometimes it's difficult to open a door regardless of how loud opportunity knocks. Is this a playoff team? Considering the Generals' schedule this weekend and the fact that Johnstown is already 5 points behind the boys from Boston, it looks like it could be do or die time for Johnstown. They got this weekend off before having to visit division-leading Maryland March 17, 18, and 19. Yes, Johnstown's got to poop or get off the pot. Off this weekend, big jump in points for Northeast. Johnstown could be on their way out of the playoffs anyway. Playoff contention anyway. Number 6, Philadelphia Rebels, 22-23, 1-1, 489 win percentage. At first look, it appears that Justin Hale and the Rebels should be more focused on next season than continuing to fight their way into the playoffs. Let's face it, the Rebs are 9 points behind a currently 4th-place team going into a 3-gamer against Danbury. In order to keep the gap from expanding, Philly is going to have to beat Jersey on the road tonight before sweeping the Nords at home this weekend. That could happen, but it's highly unlikely. So I think we see Philadelphia and Johnstown kind of bow out in the next 2 weeks. Speaking of bowing out, Danbury did it before the showcase. Hat tricks are 241, 5-2. Losers in 36 straight games after dropping 2 more at Philadelphia over the weekend. The Bus rose to Boston this week for 3 games against the Generals. Personally, my own perspective, I'd love to see Danbury steal a sweep for their efforts in Boston. Even just a game would be hilarious, but I don't see any of that nonsense really happening. Now, you think we go through 7 teams of the East, we'll be done. But we're not. We got more. The Expansion Sisters. I say sisters because there's more than one. We already know about the Rochester Junior Americans being the 8th team in the East. Remember that press release from Johnstown with a virtual all-star team of National Hockey League players set in to pitch in to help the new NAHL team? Come to find out, that may have not been exactly accurate. Is this fantasy junior hockey news? Is that what we're doing now, fantasy hockey? Because a number of those guys that were named are saying, what the heck? I may come out for a few skates, but being a defensive consultant or a goalie consultant, that's not what I signed up for. I didn't sign anything. They called me one time, that was it. There's a huge difference between coming out and skating a few times and actually being on staff to help develop these prospects. Here's the deal, folks. I'm looking forward to seeing what's real and what's not from this group. Chris Collins, dude, you know better than that. You knew that wasn't going to fly. Stop name dropping and do the job yourself. You got a pedigree. You got experience. You're probably the most experienced guy on the staff. So you don't need to bring these other guys in. At least if you bring them in, great. But don't put them on the masthead if they didn't say they belong there. Now for the bond drop. In the last North American Board of Governors meeting, they approved a new membership for New Hampshire. Yes, New Hampshire. The East Division's 9th team, because we need 9 teams in that division. I'm hearing that the new NAHL team will possibly be replacing the existing USPHL club in the building. There was talk of both teams playing out of the same building in Manchester. But I'm sure that's not going to happen. If true, this will be the second time in the last 3 or 4 weeks that the North American Hockey League has flipped an NCDC team from the NCDC to the NAHL. That's interesting. You got to understand what the goal is. I think it's more reactive than being proactive. We don't need 9 teams in the East, but, got your $1 million, you're in. So when's this going to end? Why do we need 9 teams out there? We have 3 teams in Alaska. We need a 4th team, but it's not always about the money. It should be about development. And if you really want to save money for your members, you figure out a way to get that 4th team in Alaska. That would cause a lot of relief and give relief to that division in the Midwest from having to go to Alaska twice a year. Cut that back. It's time. The likely scenario is just to break up the North American Hockey League, but that's not going to happen. They're collecting too much money. Good morning, Mark. Hope you appreciated that. Great day today. I'm very excited to see how that game goes today. I think Philadelphia has an opportunity to do something. I don't think they're done yet. I think that's going to be a factor tonight. That goalie they have is insane. Stops a lot of pucks. That's a good sign. He can actually steal these games. Sometimes it takes a hot goalie to make a big run. And Philadelphia has one. The Generals have one. Let's see what happens. Those 2 teams can jump up and do something. I don't know if it's might be too late for both Johnstown and Philadelphia, and that's probably the case. But that goalie can certainly make a mess of things for for that division and for Philadelphia. The Titans have an issue, and we'll see if they can get past that issue tonight. All right, folks. Easy show today. Tomorrow we'll go through another division. Kind of guess, is there more expansion? I heard there's 1 more team coming in still late. That'll be 4 teams for this year. We'll go from 29 to 33 teams. If that's the case, we'll see what happens. That's very interesting to hear that. So, all right, that's it for today. Let's get this right, Tommy. Enjoy your